First, Super Mario Galaxy changed our perception of how a 3D space could be navigated. Upside down, right side up, it was all fair game with its gravity-defying hijinks that challenged us to put our minds on hold and allow our instincts to take over. Less than 3 years later, the mustached mascot is taking to the cosmos once again with a much leaner, meaner disposition. But is it enough to keep the game from feeling like a glorified expansion? The story in the first game didn't set the universe on fire. Nintendo's decided why bother in the sequel. Instead of a convoluted explanation for why a plumber could possibly find himself in space, the sequel falls back on the tried and true, with Bowser attempting to hatch yet another harebrained scheme that somehow requires that he take Princess Peach along for the ride. It's membrane thin, but this is one of those rare cases where less is more. This ideal carries over to the design. Gone is the hub area from the first game that acted as a portal to each stage, and it's been replaced with a traditional menu system that shows you each world laid out along a clearly defined path. After each completed star, you're transported back to a spaceship shaped like Mario's noggin, where you can collect extra lives and examine the trophies from your exploits before heading back into the fray. Within each of the 6 primary worlds are galaxies, or in the traditional sense, levels. You can collect a few stars from each, including special prankster comet stages that become unlocked as you get cleverly hidden comet coins. These provide an excellent risk-reward proposition, as there are times in the more difficult levels that the last thing you want to do is go out of your way to find a trinket. Just like the first game, many of the levels have multiple parts that require finding star-shaped transporters that send Mario careening to the next chunk of land. The downside is that many times this structure limits your ability to go back and pick up missed doodads. As you collect stars, more galaxies and opportunities for stars become unlocked, and you can have well over a dozen options available at a time, ensuring that you're rarely forced to tackle something that's giving you grief. Mid-level checkpoints give you a chance to catch your breath, but you're still unable to collect multiple stars while inside each level. Hidden stars are definitely the most difficult to find, since they normally require finding a secret area or tinkering with the environment to uncover. Inventive boss battles are plentiful, and while you rub elbows with Bowser multiple times throughout the game, the premise for defeating him is always the same. The first Mario Galaxy allowed a friend to plug in another Wii remote and use a cursor to collect star bits. Collecting has been expanded to yellow coins, which can be a huge help considering they restore Mario's health and aren't always easy to get. The second player can also stun enemies with star bits and then defeat them. It goes a long way towards engaging the second player, but it can also make things significantly easier since the levels don't change based upon the number of players. If you've played any previous 3D Mario game, then you'll know what to expect from the total playtime. You can head to the final showdown after collecting 70 stars versus 60 in the last game, but there are scores more to acquire after that for the completist. A special galaxy unlocks after you send Bowser packing with star milestones to unlock each one, serving as a dangling carrot. There's a lot to see and do, and best of all, there's flexibility in how you proceed. Without the story forcing the framework, the game amounts to a series of small nuggets of entertainment that can be easily put down and picked back up without the worry of where to go or what to do next. At this point, it's already well documented that the controls in 3D Mario games are about as responsive as they come. The formula has gone unchanged here, so you get the same complement of long jumps, flip jumps, triple jumps, and a spin attack that's executed by waggling the Wii remote. These are the primary tools, and a creative mind can find multiple ways to reach a desired location. Power-ups are a big part of any Mario game, and while a few return, the new ones are far more versatile than they initially seem. The drill power-up, for instance, is one of the best in the game, and the levels designed around it will make you look at video games in a whole new way. We'll leave some for you to discover on your own, for the list of buffs really runs the gamut, with some getting more use than others. The difficulty is all over the place. You'll be able to attain many of the stars in a try or two, but some are absolutely devilish, requiring pinpoint precision and exacting play. With so many bottomless pits working in conjunction with far too many variables, you'll find new ways to lose lives with every restart. It's a good thing that finding extras is so easy. You can obtain several with every trip back to the ship, and most of the more difficult stages will have a 1-up mushroom placed somewhere within easy reach. The ones that don't will test your mettle, and don't be surprised if you lose 20 lives or more before finally nailing them. The prankster Comet stages are like an abusive relationship. You'll endure punishment over and over again, yet you keep coming back for more. Speed runs and timed coin challenges and levels you have problems just completing the first time around are absolutely brutal. The gameplay variety is basically unmatched in the medium. There's plenty of platforming to be done, though the pure jumping stages from the first game have oddly disappeared. Then there's racing, flying, swimming, shooting, puzzles, and just about any other gameplay type you can think of. Every last one is airtight. There's no Motion Plus support, but the sensitivity on the default Wii Remote makes it seem like Nintendo has some programming tricks it's not sharing with other developers. Yoshi has been in 3D Mario games before, but the little green guy really struts his stuff in Super Mario Galaxy 2. In addition to his ability to triple jump across long distances, he can swallow just about anything in the game and turn it into ammo or star bits. His tongue also comes in handy for grappling onto flowers. Luigi was an award for finishing the game in the first Super Mario Galaxy, but he's now available at the beginning of some levels to swap in for Mario. There's not much difference between the two other than a slightly different stopping distance, so it's really a matter of taste as to which brother you choose. You can't always adjust the camera, but it's been intelligently programmed to show you what the developers want you to see. It's not perfect, but a few isolated instances cannot sabotage the work that's been done to provide a serviceable view with true 360-degree gameplay. Gravity still plays a major role, and you'll be jumping across areas that are upside down, inside out, and everything in between. There's still no other game like it. As challenging as it can sometimes be, Super Mario Galaxy 2 manages to hit the sweet spot in terms of difficulty. With so many stars open at any given time, you never have to torture yourself. Some objectives require precision play with unforgiving consequences, but the responsive, accurate controls are always there to eliminate excuses. It's a game that's a lot less about figuring out what to do, and more about having the skill to do it. It's hard to find many technical improvements to the presentation. It's the same engine that powered the first game, so you get the same good and bad. Aliasing can be awful at times and textures can appear blurry, but it runs at a rock-solid frame rate and includes some interesting effects here and there, like fur shading and persistent footprints. The art is really what sells it though. While garish at times, the day-glow environments look like you could almost taste them, and some of the effects for dissolving floors look better than what we see in much more powerful HD consoles. Creature design could certainly use some work and variety, but at the very least, the artists have some vivid imaginations. The audio is the real star of the presentation. Yeah, you get some great orchestrated versions of classic Mario tunes, but sound cues have been implemented into the gameplay to tell you when to jump in some levels, and instruments will solo into each track when the action heats up. The script for the game was probably less than a page, but it goes back to the less is more ideal. Super Mario Galaxy 2 is one of those games made for the game player, and not necessarily the game fan. If you feel like you need a deep, involving story with gobs of cutscenes to stay engaged, then steer clear. But if you play video games for what makes them different from other entertainment mediums, put aside a few days on your calendar and get ready for a top-shelf gameplay experience. There's more creativity in some single stages in this game than in entire other games. It's a bit familiar, but all the fat has been cut away to expose a pure gaming core. There's something for just about everyone, and games that we can truly recommend to almost everyone are rare. Here's hoping that Mario never goes back to the Mushroom Kingdom.